Hi everyone, I'm Amy Barkley from Cornell Cooperative Extension, and today we're going to talk about washing eggs. Now, this is a hotly contentious topic, and so I'm going to kind of break down for you what it looks like to wash eggs and some of the regulations in New York State. So, the big question is to wash or not to wash? Now, there are two schools of thought here, and both are legal in New York. You do not have to wash eggs in New York. But if you do, there are some pros and cons to both. So, when you don't wash eggs, you maintain that proteinaceous coating on the egg called the cuticle or the bloom, which can help reduce bacterial penetration into the eggshell. Not washing takes less time. You just have to sort the eggs, which ones are clean, they go in the cartons to sell, which ones are dirty. They stay behind with you or maybe get washed. It takes less materials, and there's a reduced chance for error. You can't not wash an egg wrong. You simply don't wash the egg. Now, keep in mind that in the state of New York, you cannot sell dirty eggs, even if it has one fleck of poop on it, or one piece of hay on it, or one little feather just adhering to the top. You cannot technically put that in a carton and sell it. That is considered a dirty egg and it is illegal. So, for those eggs which are dirty, you will need to wash them if you plan on selling them. Now, washing is nice because it removes surface contamination, and depending on what soap you're using, you might be able to remove some surface stains as well. Now, that said, you can wash an egg wrong, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But if you do it wrong, you can actually increase the risk of bacterial contamination. But before we get into egg washing, let's follow it back to the hen house first. You'll want to collect eggs within 48 hours of lay. That is the federal law. Now, if you have a rooster in your flock, like this gorgeous gentleman here, you'll want to collect your eggs sooner because, especially if it's a warm, hot day, you don't want to risk the chance of those eggs, fertile eggs, developing in their shells, even a little bit. It decreases egg quality, and consumers typically don't like that. Now, once you refrigerate the eggs, you cannot then take them out of the fridge and leave them at room temperature for extended periods of time. The only exception to this is removing eggs from the fridge to wash. And then once they're washed, they go right back into the fridge. Before you wash, you're gonna wanna take out anything that's super, super dirty. So this is kind of a gradation of dirty that I found in my hen house a couple weeks ago. And the egg on the right, I would not wash and sell. It's gonna be stained anyway because of all of that adhering fecal matter and bedding. So those eggs happen. And so anything like that, just take it out right off the bat, dispose of it, whatever you wish to do with it. It just shouldn't be washed, sold, or consumed. Now, in terms of which tools you use, I do get questions on this sometimes. Amy, can I use a scrub brush? Can I use a cloth? And it's really up to you. Whatever will clean the surface of the egg thoroughly without damaging the surface. So, a really, really rough scrub brush is probably not a great idea, but a soft scrub brush would do just fine. Cloths are okay, sponges are fine, and single use paper towels are great too. And they're awesome because you can use them and then throw them away. With the other three items that I have listed here, you're going to want to wash them completely in between each cycle of washing eggs. So for a scrub brush, that might look like adding extra soap and rinsing it out really, really well. Or for a cloth or sponge, that might look like throwing it in the washer. Anything that is reused that has poop on it from washing eggs can contaminate new batches of eggs. So just keeping everything really, really clean is important. There are many, many types of egg cleaners available on the market. There's a lot of ones designed specifically for eggs. There's powders, there's liquid cleaners that you can add to like a pool of hot water. There are egg wipes actually that work kind of like the disinfectant wipes where you pull one out of the tube and you can wipe off a few eggs until it gets dirty and then you can toss it. So a couple of options there. But the easiest, cheapest, and most readily accessible is probably dish soap. If you're choosing dish soaps, choose one without fragrance and without color if you can. If you don't have the choice about color, that's okay. Just go for one that doesn't have a fragrance in it. And that's because eggs are very good at absorbing off odors and off flavors, and fragrance can impact that. Don't soak eggs, especially dirty eggs or any eggs. I know it's really, really tempting to want to soak the really dirty ones to get that manure off or that mud off so that they can be sold. But eggs are porous and bacteria can enter the shells through the pores. And once you put eggs into a bath of water, that contaminates the water. And then any new eggs that you add to that pool will become contaminated as well. And this is especially pertinent if the egg wash water is at the same temperature or colder than the eggs. We want to wash eggs in water that's at least 20 degrees warmer than the egg internal temperature. And that's because when we wash eggs in hot water, the egg contents will expand and push any dirt out of those pores that you can wipe away and rinse away with water. I'm going to go through a demonstration of me cleaning some eggs. Again, these are pretty dirty eggs, and that's because they've been out in coops where the hens are walking through some mud with some freeze-thaw cycles. So I want to definitely wash all of these eggs. Now, the first thing that I do is turn on my water. It takes a while for my water to get warm, and I run it until it's as hot as I can stand it. And then I know that it's definitely above that 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I use a wire basket to wash my eggs in, and this is because I like to wet them down and kind of let that wetness sit on the surface of the shell because that helps decrease the adherence of any foreign material without actually soaking the eggs. And then any contaminated water just runs right off the eggs, which I really like. In this video, I am using a paper towel to wash my eggs. It's a pretty firm paper towel, and I'm also using a non-scented but colored dish soap. And I'll go ahead and wipe the surface of the eggs gently, all surfaces until all the contamination's off. Give it a good rinse, pop it in the egg drying tray, and there you go. If you want, you could technically wash eggs directly in your sink. Just make sure the sink is readily draining. And before you wash your eggs, give the sink a really good scrub out so that there's no contamination of bacteria from any food that's been left in there hanging around. You don't want to introduce that to your eggs either. Now that's all I have for egg washing. After the eggs are washed, you'll want to let them dry completely before packing them. And our recommendation is to always pack them in clean and preferably new cartons. If you can, you'll want to pack them in cartons that don't have any other company logos on them, or if they do have those logos, make sure they're erased. And that's just part of the state law. And once you have washed the eggs, make sure you store them in your fridge because eggs that are washed cannot stay out of refrigeration. And that's all I've got for you guys for tonight. Thank you for attending. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat below and I'll answer them, or you can go ahead and email me. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great night.